The latest data shows that Shreveport has a higher murder rate than the city of Chicago. Is violent crime a problem in Shreveport?
Senator, violent crime is a problem anywhere, and in any murder, having one victim of a murder is one too many.
Do you think you need the National Guard to fight crime in Shreveport, Louisiana?
I don't think we need them, but I think they would be welcome.
Senator Durbin, that was a good question. And yes, Shreveport has a crime problem. Most of our urban areas do. We have suburban crime and rural crime, but we do have a crime problem in Shreveport. You make a salient point.
Mr. Duva, it was a pleasure to meet you in my office. I had never met you before, and you did well. You made, I thought, a convincing, sincere presentation of your belief of that the responsibility of the U.S. Attorney is unique. You acknowledged the authority of the office and the power of the office to change lives. You've been involved in a case that drew national attention on public corruption, and we talked about that for some period of time. The Penn section of the Department of Justice, which is part of your division, if you're confirmed, has been reduced in number from 30 to 2, and the 2 are literally novice political appointees. I was heartened to hear you believe that the Penn plays an important role in making decisions involving prosecution of public corruption. There's a longstanding requirement that prosecution of public officials be reviewed by Penn's career prosecutors to ensure that they are not politically motivated. Attorney General Bondi has reportedly eliminated this requirement. When we met, you told me you thought Penn played an important role in the process. Do you agree that Penn prosecutors should review the prosecution of public officials?
Thank you for the question, Ranking Member Durbin, and I enjoyed our 25 minutes in your office on Monday. I appreciate your time, and I thought we had a great and honest discussion. To answer your question about Penn, I've worked with Penn in multiple cases. I tried a case against a former member of Congress in 2017 with Penn, and it was a very good partnership. What I will do if I'm confirmed by the Senate is have a discussion with the Deputy Attorney General about repurposing Penn and figure out how to, if there's a lane, to build up that section and make it a more robust section than it is. I'm aware of the news. I wasn't involved in any of those decisions of it going from 30 lawyers to 2 lawyers. I understand some of those lawyers are detailed in other portions of the criminal division. But I think from my own experience, which is a specialty of mine, that public corruption prosecutions have an absolute place, both in the U.S. Attorney's offices and the criminal division. And I will have discussions with Deputy Attorney General Blanche because I believe the criminal division should have a footprint in those prosecutions and evaluating cases at the national level.
We've seen reports of the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Many of them were hastily brought by Lindsey Halligan, a Trump loyalist installed as the interim U.S. Attorney when other prosecutors balked or were removed. I said to my staff how impressive our meeting was, and they said, what will he do when he gets the Comey call? What will he do as an 18-year veteran of the U.S. Attorney's Office when a political figure in this administration says, this is what I want you to do, prosecute this person, whether it's a member of Congress or someone who wronged the president in years gone by? You said you've done the job the right way for 18 years, and I have no reason to believe you have not. The question is whether or not you're going to stand by that when you're faced with that moment. It could be a call from the White House. It could be a call from the Department of Justice. It could be a tweet by the President of the United States instructing you to prosecute an individual that you know there's no evidence against. So let me ask you, Mr. Duva, what will you do?
I will stand by. When I was sworn as an AUSA, I took an oath, and I take it seriously, and I bring it before this committee today. Those cases are not being handled by the criminal division. They're being handled by another U.S. Attorney's Office, the Eastern District of Virginia. I really don't know much about them other than what I've read about them, so I cannot comment specifically on those cases, and I've never met Ms. Halligan. But what I can tell you, Senator, and what I told you in your office, is that I will always do one thing, and that is apply the facts to the law in any case, whether it's a public corruption case, a transnational drug case, or anything of that nature, because that's what you're sworn to do, and that is the only path for a prosecutor. And as I mentioned in my opening statement, all we have is our integrity, and if I get a call or a referral, the case will go to a line attorney in the public integrity section or whatever section it is, and it will be worked up properly by properly using the grand jury, and we will investigate a case and make a charging decision based on the justice manual and the ethics of my office.
Mr. Van Hook, you've been acting U.S. Attorney in the Western District of Louisiana. I'm sure, up of Louisiana. I'm sure you're aware of the crime rate in Shreveport, Louisiana. What you may not know is the latest status shows that Shreveport has a higher murder rate than the city of Chicago. Is violent crime a problem in Shreveport?
Senator, violent crime is a problem anywhere, and in any murder, having one victim of a murder is one too many. And as being in leadership of the United States Attorney's Office in Shreveport, I've worked very hard with our state, local, federal law enforcement partners to do our best to help bring down the crime rate. We've worked with the district attorney there, the police chief. We've formed a collaborative partnership. You know, unlike a lot of places in this world today, we all get along there, and we've all worked very hard together to try to reduce crime.
Do you think you need the National Guard to fight crime in Shreveport, Louisiana?
I don't think we need them, but I think they would be welcome. I think that the chief of police would welcome them. Chief Smith, I believe, would welcome their help. And I think that whatever resources could be brought to bear to reduce crime in Shreveport would be helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Durbin, that was a good question. And yes, Shreveport has a crime problem. Most of our urban areas do. We have suburban crime and rural crime, but we do have a crime problem in Shreveport. You make a salient point.
Mr. Duva, your nomination has special significance. I think it ought to have enormous meaning to the entire committee and to the nation, because you will have enormous power over people's lives. And I was impressed by your statement that essentially your ethic is to do the right thing for the right reasons. And unfortunately, what we've seen in recent weeks is prosecutions based on personal animosity or political considerations of two very prominent individuals, James Comey and Attorney General Tish James, where career prosecutors resigned because they thought it was the wrong thing for the wrong reasons, in fact, based on improper considerations. Instructions from the president contained, among other places, in a post that he used to issue instructions. And so I want to probe a little bit on that question. Would you agree that no one should be prosecuted for their political beliefs or because they're a personal or political adversary of the president?
Thank you for the question, Senator Blumenthal. I can't speak to those cases because I'm not
I'm
involved
asking
in
you
them.
in general, and I think it's a yes or no question.
Yes, Senator. And as I said in my opening statement, individuals are prosecuted based on the facts, and those facts as applied to the law. And for 18 years as an AUSA, I wrote a pros memo in every case.
So I'm going to interrupt you with apologies because I have limited amounts of time. I'm going to take that as a yes, that they should be based on the facts and the law, not the president's personal feelings of animosity or political opposition. Let me just follow up because you're going to be in this position. If you are pressured by someone in the White House, including the president, to bring criminal charges that you believe are unsupported by the facts and the law, would you resign?
We're going to evaluate every case that we receive, Senator, based on the facts and the law, and we will have processes. I mentioned a prosecution memorandum that I will evaluate at the highest level of the criminal division, and I will consult with the Deputy Attorney General, and my decision will be based solely on the facts and the law in every case.
And I'm asking what you would do if you are instructed to bring an indictment, to seek an indictment from a grand jury that you believe is lacking in facts and legal support, would you resign? Would you stand up? Would you be counted? It's not enough to say, we'll review it on the process and so forth. Now is your time to tell this committee that you'll have the backbone to stand on conscience and conviction.
I don't think I'll be in that position, Senator, but all I can say is I will do what I've always done based on the Justice Manual and the process and the ethics of my office is evaluate cases based on the facts and the law and make decisions. They will not be based on personal animus. They will not be based on tweets. They will not be based on anything but the facts and the law in each case.
I'm disappointed in that response because I think it's less than the American people deserve by way of a commitment to the rule of law. But you did mention the Justice Department manual, and I have a proposal, and I'm hoping it will be supported on a bipartisan basis that would, in effect, among other things, codify the Justice Manual's prohibitions on political considerations in charging decisions and prohibit the White House from intervening or interfering in specific charging decisions. In addition, it would create a statutory right of action for people who are selectively or maliciously prosecuted. It would give them rights, much as they have in state court. I don't know about Louisiana, but in many state courts, there is a cause of action for malicious prosecution, and it would enact some key reforms in the grand jury process to ensure that the government isn't abusing its power. Would you support those kinds of reforms, Mr. Duva?
Be happy to work with the Office of Legislative Affairs and Legal Policy to have those discussions with the committee and also the Senate. And many of those protections do exist in the Hyde Amendment, which is a federal statute that addresses malicious prosecutions or prosecutions that are not based in fact and law. So those protections do currently exist on the federal level.